Hi guys, Wednesday, halfway through the week. Wednesday's called hump day sometimes because it's halfway through the week, the work week. Maths today, we are doing rounding to estimate and approximate. Rounding we found pretty tricky when we did rounding. Remember the rules for rounding. Watch the video. Rather than me go through all the rules now, the video will have it explained much better. So make sure you watch the video. Do your best. If you find it tricky, drop me a message and I can pop onto Zoom and have a chat with you. Bit tricky. We've had a nice easy 2 days though with maths, so can't have it easy every day. In English today, we are going to write 2 contrasting descriptions of a setting of the rainforest. I want you to write 2 paragraphs today. I'm going to do a Zoom meeting at 9:30 where we can plan this out together. And I want 1 paragraph to be about the beauty of the rainforest. So I want you to imagine that you're walking through a rainforest and all the things you can see and hear and smell and touch, even things you can taste. We get so much food from the rainforest, and how beautiful and magical it can be. And then I want you to see a second paragraph as if you're walking through an area of rainforest that has been cut down due to deforestation, which is a really serious problem that we've talked about lots in class, and in other classes I'm sure other teachers have spoken to you about. I'm going to put some pictures on the website to help you. But again, I want them to be really contrasting. So I want the first one to be really beautiful and amazing, and I really want it to be a stark contrast to how horrific. Think about the things you might see as you're walking through that deforestation area. Think about what you might hear. Maybe the people cutting the trees down are still there. What it smells like. How you feel as you're walking through. You definitely use your 5 senses. Use some front adverbials. Use some really, really imaginative vocabulary. And be specific as well. Look forward to reading those. I want to be like crying reading your second paragraph because it's so awful. Make me cry. I have found a very short poem for you to write today. It's only this long. It's called Forest Walk. I'm going to read it to you. I really like the structure of this poem and how it's written and how the hyphens have been used. It's called Forest Walk. I'm practicing my I belong here, no twig snap, no leaf rustle, no branch crack, see all, know all, float like fog, like smoke, pine needle soft forest walk. No one will know I'm coming, no one will know when I'm gone. Just really like that. I really like the structure and I really like the rhythm that's made from those short lines and using those hyphens. I've put a special note on your poem for you. So have a go reading it out loud. See how it feels when you're saying it, and it's a good poem to read out loud, as all poems are. I've written you a nice note here. Think about the size of your letters. Shouldn't have a giant letter at the start of every word. Looks like a capital. Looks like you don't know what a capital letter is. Our letters should be straight. We shouldn't have big slanty P's and Y's and F's all over the place, T's and L's. Think about your sizing. Lorraine is marking this. It's a very, very short poem, so you should really be able to take your time with this. Take effort. Come on, please. Please, I'm begging you. Do a good job with your handwriting. Don't make Lorraine cross. Lastly today, we are going to, this is quite topical, we're going to be thinking, and I'm a bit sad that we didn't get to do this as a topic. One of our topics in year 5 would have been learning about explorers. And explorers were fantastic people, but also they did some really, really horrific things that have been highlighted during these Black Lives Matter protests. Lots of explorers were from Europe, and therefore at the time, most people in Europe at the time were white people. And the explorers went all around the world to discover lands. And they were like heroes. They came back to Europe and they'd talk about places that they'd discovered, but they hadn't really discovered them. The places were still there, and people that lived there already. It had not been discovered. It was just that native people lived there, and the Europeans hadn't discovered these lands yet. So it was a very exciting time for the European people. What happened though, generally, when most of these explorers arrived in a new place, they thought that they were better than the native people. A lot of the time, people from these other countries and continents weren't white. They had darker skin, and they were treated really, really badly. The Europeans thought that, well, I've discovered this now, so this now belongs to Spain, or it belongs to France, or it belongs to England, or it belongs to Holland, wherever they came from. And they took great pride in that, and they would kind of arrive in a place, and if the people that lived there already didn't want to now be a part of England, they would generally kind of say, you have no choice. If you don't want to be a part of our country, then we'll just kill you all and we'll take your land anyway, which is just horrific. And a lot of people have been talking about this, especially lots of, a lot of the statues around the UK and lots around the world have now started a debate as to whether we should have statues of people who did these kinds of things in the past, if we should celebrate that, or if we should actually say, actually, this was shocking behaviour. No one would behave like this now. It's completely inappropriate, and we should not be celebrating the fact that lots of Europeans went to other countries and kind of invaded and just took the place for themselves. So a very, very stressful topic. It's a really, really interesting topic, and exploring the world was a fantastic thing to do and amazing. You can imagine going to a country that you'd never been anywhere like that before, and experiencing cultures nothing like what we have in the UK or in Europe would have been really, really amazing and interesting. But it doesn't excuse behaving outrageously and treating people who have different culture to our own, treating them as if they weren't human. So on that, have a little think about that. What do you think about that? Do you think we should be taking these statues down? So some of the statues were people who had big involvement in the slave trade as well, which is something else which we can talk about. Maybe I'll do a little bit on that. In fact, I'll do that in a week or two, because I've got something coming up about that. What do you think about people exploring and invading other countries and saying, well, this is my country now? Do you think that was okay? Do you think that's not okay? Do you think we should take down statues of people who did things like that? Let me know. Anyway, I digress. Today's job is to have a little think about an explorer called Sir Walter Raleigh, who was very, very famous, one of the most famous explorers ever. And he sailed around all around the world looking for a place called El Dorado. And El Dorado, people had heard of this place called El Dorado, and they thought there was like tons and tons of gold there. They were like, I need to find this place, El Dorado. There's loads of gold there. Back in Europe, they'll love all this gold. I'm going to get some for my country. My king will like that. It'll be amazing. So he ended up going to Guyana, which is a country in the very north part of South America. And he ended up in the rainforest, because most of Ghana is rainforest. And he really liked the rainforest. He found out loads of interesting things there. He did loads of research. He found out about loads of different animals. And when he returned back to Europe, he shared all this information that he found, and people were really interested. What I would like you to do is imagine that you are going to go to Guyana, to the rainforest. And I want you to think. Some children have actually done this. Some children have gone back and retraced Sir Walter Raleigh's trip. Crazy, super dangerous. The rainforest is super dangerous, especially in Guyana. I want you to imagine that you were planning a trip to Guyana. I'll put some information about Guyana on the website for you. And what would you need to take with you on this trip? You can think about your trip on a boat across the Atlantic, what things you might need with you. And you might also want to think about things you might need for in the rainforest, like survival things like food and water, things to make you comfortable, things to remind you of home, but also things to carry out research, like what things would you need to record things that you saw. 400 years ago, there's no such thing as cameras and things like that, so a lot of explorers would paint things that they saw. They would capture things like birds and kill them and put them in these display cases, and they'd have all the different types of birds from this part of the rainforest. They put them in a beautiful display, but quite macabre. So yeah, nowadays we don't really do things like that, but we do sometimes have specimens of animals encased in museums for research, but explorers don't generally go and do that. Think how you might record your journey and what you might see. You can put your ideas in bullet points, you can sort them with subheadings, thinking about the areas I just talked about. Enjoy. Look forward to reading that. So I feel like this video has been really, really long, but I wanted to have a little chat about explorers and the good and bad sides of them. I hope you have a lovely day. Hope you can come to my Zoom this morning to plan your English. That's at 9:30. See you later.